Hey everyone, God bless you. Thanks a lot for tuning in. My reflection today I've entitled It Took 50 Years. Reflections on the Walk for Life 2023. I've just come back with about 65 or 70 of my parishioners from San Francisco, where we had made pilgrimage for the weekend. This is a long-standing parish custom. We've been doing this for about 10 years or so now, maybe a little bit more. Ever since we discovered the incredible West Coast Walk for Life, which I'll tell you about a little bit more if you don't know about it in a second. The reason that we go on this pilgrimage is because of the incredible benefits, the joys of going together up to San Francisco. It's about a 7-hour drive. We either go in rented large buses or in 15-passenger vans. And we go up and dive into an incredible experience of prayer, sweet fellowship with the Orthodox Christians of many different churches in the Bay Area, talks and confession. We get to venerate the relics of Saint San Francisco as kind of the hub and the origin of Holy Orthodoxy in the state of California. And we had just an extremely edifying pilgrimage. We were hosted by, this year, St. Seraphim of Sarov Church in Santa Rosa, just north of San Francisco. And we stayed there 2 nights. We were lovingly cared for by their parishioners and by their devout pastor, Father Lawrence Margitich. We also came down into the city early Saturday morning for a liturgy at Holy Trinity Cathedral. This is the OCA Cathedral of Archbishop Benjamin, who's a dear and old friend of mine and a fellow Pasadenian. And we were hosted by Father Kirill Sokolov, who is the dean of that cathedral. We had a wonderful Saturday morning liturgy, and then they hosted us for some refreshments before we headed over to the city center in San Francisco for the Walk for Life. And that began for us with the usual Orthodox service of supplication, which took place at 11:30 in the morning. After we had the liturgy and some snacks, we headed over. And it was led by a number of wonderful priests. And after that, the formal program of the Walk for Life began at 12:30. They always have beautiful speakers, testimonials from women who have suffered from abortion and people who have been, who were conceived in rape and other inspiring stories. It's really run by a team of devout Roman Catholic laywomen who have a great heart for mothers and for the unborn. It was opened in prayer as usual by the deeply respected Roman Catholic Archbishop of San Francisco, Salvatore Cordileone, who read the opening prayer and greeted the some 50,000 participants, as he always does. Once that's over, we begin the walk. And I just want to call out for some kudos the incredible work of Orthodox Christians for Life, the director of OCL, Emily Wilkinson, who was leading the delegation to the National Walk for Life, the March for Life in Washington, D.C., so she wasn't able to be in San Francisco, but she prepared us and organized us very well, and they provided incredible banners for us to carry and music brochures that we sang along the route. Also, Emily Suela, one of the staff members of OCL, was there and did a fantastic job helping us and organizing us for our Orthodox participation. This is the second largest pro-life walk or march in the country, second only to the massive walk every year in Washington, D.C., where there are hundreds of thousands. We had about 50,000 people participate, which was a good crowd. It was also a historic time. It was historic because this was the first time that we walked after the overthrow of the infamous Roe versus Wade decision of 1973. The joy that permeated this gathering because of the overthrow of Roe versus Wade, it was just electrifying. Such an incredible accomplishment, especially by the young people who were so diligent to pray and walk. They really are the most pro-life of all Americans. Is the young generation, and to see them out there wearing their shirts, "We are the post-Roe generation," was just an inspiration to see. I was amazed in the walk. We walked about 2 miles from the city center down to the water, as we usually do. It's just an ocean, just an absolute ocean of people. For an hour, you can stand on a corner and you can watch people go by for a full hour, completely packing the streets. The opposition each year, and remember, this is in the center of the most godless city in the United States, San Francisco, and yet all they could muster over the years were a few protesters in about the middle of the walk. This year they had some more because the pro-abortion community is panicked. They recognize that they have lost the argument, and that was very, very clear. On the walk, I had two experiences that I'd like to share. One was a very upset woman in her 60s, probably, who was walking against the flow and letting us all know what she thought about us. God bless her. And she looked at me and she said, "You shouldn't be here. You don't belong here." And I thought to myself, how strange. Here was one woman standing against a river of 50,000 people, mostly from the Bay Area and from San Francisco. And I looked at her and I said, "Dear, do you see these people?" She just couldn't bear to look. She just couldn't bear to look. But it was, I think, illustrative. It was illustrative. What the majority of Americans allowed to take place over the last 50 years, a small number, always a minority of Americans to ram down the throats of our nation, really, I think we'll always look back in complete shock that we let it go on for 50 years. A little bit further on the walk, I was asked to give a small interview with a couple reporters and photographer, and they clearly were not engaged in the pro-life movement, although they were absolutely fascinated by the participants. And they shared with me, they said that this is you're walking down the center of San Francisco, and that's all they can muster. They said, you have clearly won this. There is no debate. He goes, you have clearly won this argument nationally. And I thought to myself, well, they can even see it. Abortion remains, though it is dethroned from being upheld as a constitutional right, which everyone who knew anything knew that was just a horrible made-up decision in 1973, Roe versus Wade, built on lies from beginning to end. Though Roe v. Wade has been dethroned, still in some states, abortion will be very promoted. Sadly, in the state of California, that's very much the case. Our Governor Newsom, who is a rabid pro-abortionist, who speaks about abortion like a Christian would speak about the love of God or the forgiveness of sins or the inheritance of the kingdom of heaven. That's how he talks about abortion. He has actually funded with taxpayer money advertisements all over the country in those states that immediately banned abortion after the overthrow of Roe versus Wade, inviting any women who wanted to kill their unborn children to come to California at taxpayers' expense to stay in our hotels for free, to have their abortion for free, and to be returned to their cities for free. And that's considered charity. He actually put words of Jesus, "Do unto your others as you would have them do unto yourself," on billboards, if you can believe it. Talk about calling evil good and good evil. I greatly mourn for that man, for what he has done. And to dare to, in fact, use Jesus' language to encourage the murder of unborn children. Though Roe v. Wade has been dethroned, still and the majority of states now have put very tight strictures against abortion, some completely banning it. There are still plenty of states in which abortion is legal and usually free, and there's a lot of work to do. Pro-lifers will be addressing us. I'm hoping to do an interview very soon with Archbishop Cordileone on this very subject, on what is the call today for Christians who need to continue their pro-life work. At the end of our pilgrimage, after we had gone on our walk, we returned the next day to San Francisco early in the morning to the Holy Virgin Mary Cathedral, Joy of All Who Sorrow, the new cathedral on Geary Street, where St. John of San Francisco's sacred relics are enshrined. For the morning liturgy there, we were so graciously hosted by the Dean of that cathedral, Father Peter Perekrestoff, for the morning liturgy in English, and we were all able to venerate St. John and make our prayers to him. And then we took our young people and visited the Roman Catholic Cathedral of St. Mary and met with Archbishop Salvatore Cordileone, this great champion of the pro-life movement and also of marriage in our nation, this man who has stood so fast for Christian morals in our country and has done so against parishioners of his own, like former Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi, who not only resisted his spiritual guidance, but wrote an open letter calling upon Pope Francis to defrock her own archbishop in the San Francisco Chronicle. Lord have mercy 100 times. His Excellency was very gracious to receive our delegation and all our young people. We were able to sing him some hymns and provide a little gift as an expression of our appreciation for his courageous leadership on behalf of the pro-life movement, year after year, leading the West Coast Walk for Life. And he gave us a beautiful word about the challenge facing Christians today in opposing abortion. So hopefully there'll be more from him that I can share with you soon. Well, God be with you. I want to end my reflection by just reminding you that the church has spoken consistently. For 2,000 years, she has spoken consistently about what Christians believe about children in the womb. From the earliest documents post-New Testament, documents like the Didache and the Epistle of Barnabas, to the great fathers of the church like St. Basil the Great and St. John Chrysostom, who taught exceedingly clearly that those who procure potions to kill their unborn children, those who procure abortion, are murderers. And Christians have no blessing to be associated with the taking of the lives of unborn children. In fact, just the opposite. We have been called by God to be those who intercede for those who are in temptation, to help them, and to defend the innocent, especially those who are being led away to death. Christians who, clergy or laity, who dispute or oppose the church's unwavering opposition to abortion, they're unfaithful. And clergy and laity who are silent and do no works of mercy to protect the unborn children in the center of a abortion holocaust, they're spiritually asleep, and they need to wake up and repent and get to work in serving those who are in great need, both the unborn and women who find themselves in crisis pregnancies. It's time to wake up and make up for lost time. May the Lord grant us to soon see the complete end of legal abortion everywhere in the world. And may the witness of the church, her stentorian voice, which is the voice of God to men, call us all to the love and preservation of human life. God be with you.